Aloha and welcome to one of our nearly final practice WODs. We're getting to the point where practice WODs aren't going to help us so much anymore. You're going to find this one a little challenging, perhaps. There's many different ways that you could go about this, so please don't use my solution as the only good solution. There are many other approaches, and perhaps I'll make some screencasts with some alternatives just to give you a general view of that. So let's start our stopwatch just so we know how long this is going to take, and take a look at what our WOD is. Let's go to experiences, and we're going to take a look at ProductEditor1. So ProductEditor1, we are going to, it says use HTML forms to select quantities from a table. Not quite. I think we're going to use some file IO. I think I'll change that. But you're going to start by copying smartphone product 6 into a new PHP project. Check the table displays correctly. Generate a table of project data from the existing products array. So we're going to create a file that has data that looks like it's in this format. It looks like it's the name of the file, the image file, comma, product name, and price. And we're going to remove the code that defines the product array. We're going to remove the quantity column. We're going to add some text boxes under the image. We're going to add an empty product thing to add a new product, and when there's no new form data, print update products. I guess this picture is probably pretty good. I guess it's going to start out by saying update product information below. It's going to be our table. The quantities is missing, and now instead of having just an image, it's going to have an image and a text file. That actually seems like it would be better if it were underneath instead of by the side, so I think I'll do that. I don't like the way that looks. And the brand is going to be a text box and a price, and presumably the idea is that you can edit any of these things here, change them, and hit update, and it changes them, and it's going to write it to a file, so it's persistent, and that this data is also going to be read from a file. And then we have this new thing here which is empty, and this allows me to add a new one. And when the update is pressed, it says product information updated, and looks like if I added some new stuff here like this one, there it is, and there's puts a new one in, I can update again. So I could just keep editing. And it says make sure that that things change. Alright, let's dive into this and see how long it takes. Maybe the information is not that clear, but basically we're making an editor of our product data. So this should be fun. Hope you enjoy it, and don't get too frustrated if you didn't figure out a particularly good way to do it. At this point, you should be starting to think more on your own rather than on what particular solution I might provide, because again, there's many different correct and workable ways to do things. You just need to find one of them, not necessarily the way I would do it. But that being said, of course, maybe the way I do it might give you some hints on doing things more efficiently. So it says to start with smartphone product 6. So here's smartphone product 6. So I'm going to start my new project, and it's going to be called Product Editor 1, and we'll let that finish. And I'm going to take my data here and just select all. Where's my select all? I don't have a select all, so I'll just do Command A, select all that, copy it, and go to Product Editor 1 here, delete that, paste that there, save it, and let's make sure I got NetBeans connector and run it. And presto, notice it's got the array on the top there. That's fine, and I hit that and it shows me what was entered. Okay, good. So I got smartphone product 6 there. Let's focus only on this. So the first thing that we need to do is it says generate. Okay, so we did that. got smartphone product 6 copied, and we're going to generate the product data file from the existing array file. Here are the first 2 lines in example. It should look like that. You should generate this file by looping in the array using fwrite, or I guess fputS, same thing. Don't hand type this, so we're not going to hand type this. Okay, so basically we need to take this data here, right, and write it into an array. Oh, and it says that don't delete the code afterwards, just comment it out because we're going to need it later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with defining a file name, our product file. We'll call it prod file, because I'll probably need it in multiple places. Prod file equals quote, we'll call it products .dat. I'm going to call it .dat, so again the server can't serve it up to a user. It's just a data file. We don't want it to be passed to the user. It's something that we just use. And what we're going to need to do is loop through this selected products array one at a time, get this information here, and transform it into that format. So there are a bunch of ways to do that. The first thing, of course, that we need to do is make to open up a file pointer. So we'll say file pointer equals fopen, and we're going to open our prod file. And we want to open it for writing. And when we open it for writing with a W there, it's going to overwrite everything. If there was anything there, if the file doesn't exist, it will create it. And now I'm going to do a for. Well, actually, this loop here is the same as the loop that I need to go through all the product stuff, which happens to be in this function here. So I'm just going to copy this like that. I could type it out too, but why bother? So for I equals 0, I count products to display. I don't want products to display, I want selected products, because that is what I'm going to go through. And let's close our for loop, and let's just make a thing here. Let's call this write data. Write product data to product data file. Just make a little comment so I know what this does. So what I'm going to do is go line by, I'm going to go through each array here, and I'm going to convert it into a line and then write it to the file and add a new line. So we can do an f put string, or an fput ss $fp, and what do I want to do? I want to go grab the ith product array, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm just going to go get selected products, right? I could have done a for each here too, that might have been better. So I'm going to take selected products, that's the array I want. And I'm going to use the implode function. Maybe you're not familiar with it, but the implode is the opposite of explode. And what it will do is it'll take pieces of an array, it'll take array elements and glue them together into a string using whatever separator I give. So if I say implode, quote, comma, it's going to take all the elements of the array, which is, say, HTC, HTC phones, and 40. It's going to ignore the keys. It doesn't know anything about the keys, and it's going to put them together with a comma. And that's exactly what I need here. See, HTC, JPEG, HTC phones 4.0. So I'm going to implode this selected products, and the thing about that, so that's going to create this line here, right? Now that's perfectly good for creating the line, and the only thing I need to know is that after each line I need to add a new line. But there's one little hiccup, and this is very common with file stuff, that when I'm writing file stuff that I don't want to end with a new line. It should the new thing that's get added to it should add a new line. So I don't want to just append a new line to the end of this, because when I get to the end of count products here, it's going to add a new line. I'll have a blank line in my file, which I don't want. I'll leave this alone so you can see what I'm talking about. So let's just do this right now. We'll just put a new line in here right now. So we'll say dot quote slash n, and that'll add a new line. And now after the loop is over, I've written line here, line there, line there, line there of all the products, and then I want to close it. So what you open, you must close. Okay, so if I run this here, presumably, failed to open stream. Now if you get this failed to open stream permission denied, I'm using a Mac, and it's because the directory htdocs is not writable by the NetBeans or by the web server. So I need to go and actually change the directory to be writable by NetBeans. Actually, I should probably make all htdocs writable, just for good measure. So the way to fix that is to go to htdocs. So I'm going to go to applications, and I'm going to go to XAMPP, and I'm going to go to htdocs here, and I think I need to change this. Where is smartphone products 6? That's not it. I want ProductEditor1. So I'm going to select that and say get info. And this is not a very good thing to do, but I'm going to say add. What you should do is make the web server write this, in PHP write this, but I'm going to make this writable by everyone. Change that to read and write. So if you have a Mac, you may have to do this. If you have a PC, you might not have to do this, because security is handled differently. Okay, and running this again. Still said, okay, now I'm getting a different error. I'm getting an array to string conversion in line 37. I said selected products. That is the multi-dimensional array. That's the array of the arrays. So I need to get the ith one. It's an interesting mistake to make there. And in theory, I should have a new file called product info. Let's see if I can find it. Actually, it would be nice to be able to add it, but there it is, so products.dat. And if I'll just open that with some like text editor or something like that. Text edit, that sounds good. Okay, and I see that things are all smashed into one line here. That's because text edit is not looking at my \n here. Let's use something else. Let's use Notepad++. Actually, you know what I want to use? I want to put this in NetBeans. Let's see if I can put it in NetBeans. Let's see if I can add a file. How do I add a file? I'll say open file here, and I'm going to open it from I gotta go to XAMPP. So I go to Where's applications? Applications. And I go to XAMPP, htdocs, go to ProductEditor1. There, I want to open that. Okay, there. Now products. Okay, there. Okay, so it's not. Doesn't look like it's putting my new line in. See, it should look like this. 40. It should look like. Oh, it's not going to let me edit it. That's odd. Let me just get info on this here. And oh, it says it's read only. Okay. Once again, I'm having trouble with the permissions. So if you have a Mac, be careful about setting your permissions. There. It should be set to read write. And now I should be able to edit this. Let's close this and start it again here. Oops, wrong thing. That is very strange. Okay, let me see what it says here. Properties. Oh, it didn't save it. Okay, I gotta unlock. Boy, this is taking a long time. Just to muss around with this. It should be read and write here. Everyone gets read and write access. There we go. Okay. Now everybody has read and write access. There. Okay. Now if I go to here. No? Dang. That is annoying. Let's try this again. No. Okay, it's not letting me edit it for one reason. Anyways, it's not right. So let's take a look here at what's going on. I'm imploding. I'm setting that there. That should be correct. This kind of thing happens a lot. Let's try loading this with something else. I want to load this with text edit here. There's text edit. What I want it to look like is like this. It says I don't have permissions. Okay, so I don't know why the permissions are messed up. Let's take a look again. Maybe I need to make. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at get info here. Everyone read and write. Admin read and write. Well, okay, I see what the problem is. I need to make admin also. You think that everyone also would include the admin, but it doesn't. So I need to make this one get info, because I'm the administrator on my machine here. I have to give the administrator privileges too, which is kind of irritating. Okay, so I need to make admin read and write there. Okay, hopefully that fixes the problem here. Ah, there it goes. Okay, it's letting me edit it finally. So what I want it to look like is like this. New line, new line, new line. And you see how it ends there with a new line, but for some reason that's not working. So let's try to figure out what's going on here. Yeah. So let's see. Why am I not getting a new line? See, I'm putting the \n here. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to say if $I is less than Oh, I see what the problem was. Okay, never mind. Let's go back here. I was not I need to connect it to the implode here. I had it connected to the wrong thing. There, that'll do it. Now watch. Okay, there. The only problem with this, you see how it has line 6 like that right there, and I have a blank new line. So I need to tell it to not do it on the last line. So one way to do that is I could just go to count -1 and then just print the last line without a new line, or I can do an if statement that checks to see if I'm the last line. I'm going to be lazy. I'm just going to go to count -1 here, because like that, and then I'm going to copy this here, and then when I'm done, I'm gonna print this last one here. Notice that after I get through here, this is count selected products -1. It's less than, so I is going to be at count -2. So when I get over to here, it's actually count -1, which is going to be the last indice. So I will drop out of this loop exactly where I want it to be. The other way I could do it is I could say put at count. I could just take this thing here and put it here. In fact, just to be definite, so I'm not, it's not so obtuse, I'm going to put this here. This is the last element in the array. So after I go through the loop, I put the one, and notice it doesn't have the new line on it. So let's save that. Looking at that, and that should have updated. Oh, I have an error on line 39. Selected products count. Oh, this guy goes to there. I forgot. I somehow dropped out one of those guys. Okay. Right. Now I look over here, and you notice, look, line 6 is gone. So no more blank line. I don't want that blank line, because that blank line will mess me up. Of course, I can always just check to see if something is blank, but you'll see why we don't want that later. So now that I got all that going, I need to comment this out. So I used PHP to generate the product data file. And I'm going to comment this out. So now we're back to where we were before. We haven't used anything, and we'll go on to the next target here. So the next target is to remove the code that defines the products array and replace it with code generates the array from the data. So this code here we're going to remove. So we want to create selected products by doing a for loop. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll just start out with a again, we're going to want to open up our file. So start up a file pointer, f open, and this is prod. Oh, I need my data file. Actually should be defined outside here, because we're going to need that. So we want prod file, And this time we're going to open up for reading. And then what we're going to want to do is we're going to go through that file, this file here, line by line, and convert it into a product array, and then put that product array, information array, on selected products. So we're going to make a little comment here. Read product data from product data file and create products array. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So we open up for reading, and this time what we're going to do is we don't know how many products are in the file, so we're just going to do a while. So we're going to say while I'm not at the end of file, so FEOF asks to see if I'm at the end of the file. The other way I could do is I could keep reading stuff and ask if I come up empty-handed. I think this is a little more clear. So I'm going to ask the file pointer if I'm at the end of file. The other way to do it traditionally PHP programmers like to do is they will just read a line. If that line returns nothing, not nothing, but is unable to read, then it returns false. So either way is okay. I just prefer this myself. So this is going to now read a line of product data. So I'll say product data line equals I guess fget, or we can use fget string. Fget reads a line from a file pointer, so that reads the whole line. Again, because we ended things with these \n's, fgets is going to work by reading up to the end of that until it gets to the \n. Okay, so I get my line, and now I know it's going to be in this format, so I need to explode it. So get product info parts. So I'm going to call them, I'll call them parts, why not, equals explode. So I'm going to explode product data line. Explode product data line. Oh, I forgot to say I need to explode it around comma. So it's going to split it up along comma. So I got my parts. Now I'm going to add product info array to products array. So the whole thing I'm going to add, that's called selected products here, right? So selected products, I'm going to append it. Actually, I'm going to say append. So by using this blank bracket here, it just says give me the next thing at the end, after the end. So it's appending. So whatever the index is, this is one more than that, is equal to array. What array do I want? Well, this parts has all the things I need. So I'm going to just copy this here. This is what it looks like. That's a product data array that I want to put on here. And it's going to be image is going to be the image, but the image is going to be $parts 0, right? See, I got that from here. Parts 0 will be the first thing here, which is that. And then the brand, I want that to be $parts 1. And then the price will be $parts 2. So I'm making this array and I'm appending it to selected products. Now at the end of this, selected products should have be exactly the same as this, except for it read it from the file. So I'm going to close, close, $FP, and I want to close this to make sure that I get the data. And I don't need this anymore, so I'm going to wipe those out. Delete all that and run this, and notice I get exactly the same thing. Again, just to make sure that you know that I'm getting this from my array now. If you don't believe me, comment this out and run this, and you see how we get nothing there. Put that back and we get it back again. So we read this now from this file here. So it just split it up into parts, took those parts, made the array, put them on the array. So this selected products array looks exactly like the thing I had before, except for I read it from the file. Okay, good. So we're back to where we were before. It says remove the code that defines the products array and display. Okay, we did that. Remove the quantity column. So now what we want to do is we don't need quantity desired because this is going to be an editor. So I go down to the function that prints this table here, and I'm going to wipe out that. That's quantity, and then over here, this is the thing that does quantity, right? And over here, I don't need the last. Let me see. Yeah, it was asking for that, so I don't need that anymore. So let's just save that. And there, look, quantity is gone. And I don't need this function validate quantities, but there's no reason I can't leave it in there. It's not hurting anything, but you probably want to take it out later. Okay, so I did that. Now what do I want to do? It says add a text box under the image that places the file name in the text box. Change the display in the other cells to use a text box. So I'm going to now add these text boxes. Okay, so how do I do that? That's all done right here. So at this point, I'm not sure I'm getting a lot of mileage out of printf, but I guess I'll continue to use it. So one of the things here, I'm going to format this a little nicer, is here's the image, and then what I want to do is I'm going to create a new line, BR, and then I'm going to put an input type equals text for text box, and I got to give it a name. And the name, I'm going to be very careful. I'm actually going to name this so that the keys of this actually match the keys for the multidimensional product array. So this is all being printed using the multidimensional products array. I'm going to use the same darn keys, and except for I'm just going to call it products info. So I'll say products. I'll just say prods info. How about prods info? And then I'm going to say square bracket. Well, what am I going to do? So I'm going to use the ith one, which is going to be %d, right? I'm in this loop I, so I want the ith products array, and so I'm going to match it with the ith products array, and this is going to be called image. Why am I calling it this? I'm calling it like this because you'll see that if I name it exactly like this, actually I don't need it. I can just take, I don't need the quotes. I don't need the quotes because I'm in the printf here. If I call it $I image and prods info, then the array that I get in the $_ post variable will be exactly the same as the multidimensional products array. And so if I make any changes, all I have to do is take the data of the post and set it to the products array. Now again, you might do this differently, but this is the way I choose to do it because I'm lazy, and I think this is going to be the easiest way to do it. So input type text, name products, and the value here needs to be a string. Okay, now I'm I'm not happy with this. I don't want to use printf because printf is making, I'm not sure what all these things are, and I have to make this big long line of things here. So I'm going to change this actually to a print. And I'm going to make it a print. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a here doc. So I'm going to say lesson, lesson, lesson. I'm going to call it table. And I'm going to use a here doc because then I can actually look exactly at what things I'm defining. And I'm going to take this stuff over here. I'm going to take the end of the string there. I'm going to put that in a comment so I can leave that alone. And then this is the end of the here doc here. Table, right? And I'm going to close that and do that. Well, I'll close it over here. Close it here, there. So I'm closing the print. So that's here, and now this is a here doc. And this is going to define all this junk here as a string. Now I'm going to try this out. It's going to look like junk because it's not going to put stuff in there. I just want to see if it's going to print out still. So if I refresh this, and it's now, let's see, here it is. I'm getting a syntax error on line 110. Print here doc. Oh, did I forget this? I forgot. No. I'm not sure why this isn't working here. Unexpected. What happened if I just said $str equals that? No, that's not it. Let's see what is going on here. Oh, I don't need this quantities stuff anymore. I should take that out. That's for the quantities. And let's reformat here. Okay. Print table. And let's save it. Okay, good. Notice that it's printing all this junk, but that's fine. So I made a here doc here, and this is just for convenience, and that's because I can use these double quotes and stuff like that. You'll see what I'm doing. So instead of here's the image, I'm just going to literally just put the image stuff in here. So this is this thing here. This is this guy. Put that there, save it, and you see how they're showing up now. And now I'll take the next one. So I'm removing my printf, and I don't want this to be %s. I do want that to be %d here, but this should just be $I. So in a here doc, variables expand and that kind of stuff, so that's useful. And I don't want that value to be that. I want it to be this. I want it to be the name of the box. So let's just put that in double quotes there and there. Look, notice that the HTC, the name, so there's the image, and then the name is showing up in the text box down below. That's exactly what I wanted. And for this guy here, this guy needs to be the brand, so he's right there. So paste that there, save that, and there's the brand. And lastly, I want my price. And because I'm inputting here, I don't really care about the formatting being, you know, 0.2f and all that kind of stuff. If I'm going to do some validation later, to make sure that the user entered things correctly. I'll make sure that it's done right. Okay, so now I've got all this. Now what I want to do is I don't want this just to display here. I want it to be, and I don't need this anymore. I'll get rid of that. I want this to be an input box. So I'll just take this input type text just like this, value equals like that, and you'll see, paste it there. Input type text. I'll put this on another line just so it's easier to see. This isn't price, and this is not image. This is going to be the brand. Right? So I change that to brand, and I close my quote and close that there. And now look, see, now I've got it in a text box, and I do the same thing here. Put that on a new line. It's going to be equal to that, but this is not image. This is going to be price. And I close it like that, close it like that, save it. Boom. Okay, good. Now I have my input form. What happens when I hit purchase? Now this is all in the form. What happens when I hit purchase is my var dump is going to show me. My var dump is going to show me there. Look, my var dump says an array. It says prods info, and this is really hard to see, so I'm going to use a view page source so you can see this better. There. So I have a prods info. That's the key in the $_post array. 0 is an array with image, brand, price. Oh, that's the first product information. Second one, third one, fourth one. So this array that's keyed by prods info is exactly my multi-dimensional products array. That's why I decided to do things. I named my HTML form elements like that. So it's a little more advanced, but it works nicely. Okay, so and now it says I did that, number 5. Now it says add an empty product info array to the products array, so the image file with the file name new.ping to serve as a placeholder for new projects. So that's going to create this. So how am I going to create that? I'm going to do that simply by when I display my table here, when I'm done printing, going through all the things, right? I want to print another empty one. Well, an easier way to do that would be just to see this counts of products to display. Oops. If I take products to display and I add an empty thing to it, I don't need this num products. That's a useless code. Now, if I append to the end here, so I'm appending, so I'm going to say add empty product info for new item, new product entry. So I'm going to append to my products display, not from my file, but I'm just going to add an empty thing here. So I'm going to go up and look at, see, this is the thing that I use to put things into the array from the file. So I can just go take that, and image is going to be always what's it called, new.png, and I don't want the brand to be anything, so I'll make that blank. And I don't want the price to be anything, so I'll make that blank. So now if I save that and I continue, you'll notice that, look, now this new.png was an image that I placed in the same location as these guys, so that's why it exists, but you could have put anything in there. Okay, and that's blank and that's blank. So that allows me to add a new one. Okay, so far so good. And now it says when there is no form data, print update information below. So I'll copy that because I'm going to want that. In 23-point green font. Change the purchase to submit. Okay, that's easy enough. So when the submit button is pressed, I need to print out the table. I need to print out that's right here. So it says welcome i3 smartphone if array exists quantity in that. So this actually tells me that something was pressed, right? So if something was pressed, this says array key nine, so the quantity. So that means if there's nothing. Now I don't want quantity anymore. I'm going to look for prod info because I took away quantity, right? So prod info actually is this. See? Oh, prods info is PRODS. So if array key exists prods info, then welcome to smartphone, right? That now if that's not there, I want to print out this update product information. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not liking this actually. So I'm going to update the products info. I want it to print yeah, I don't like this at all. In fact, I'm going to rip all of this stuff out because we're not checking for errors or anything anymore. So I actually want to move this around. I'm going to say if I always want that to be a self-processing form. So I'm not going to do this here. I'm going to actually do this over here. So I'm going to say if no, it's supposed to be above the welcome. Okay, so we do need to do it here. I'm going to leave this stuff alone. If array key exists prods info, so that means that I don't have any product info. If that's the case, then what I want to do is print out update product information. So I'll just put that here. So it says update product information. And this is supposed to be in, I'll center and I'll say style equals color green and font size is 23px, and then center. Okay, so let's see. I want to start from the beginning, so I'm going to take my P out here like that and put the P back in, and it's not saying anything. So if the this is that the array key doesn't exist. Oh, I forgot to put my semicolon there and a quote like that. There it is. It says update product information below. Okay, good. Now, if that's okay, yeah, that's fine. I don't think I need any of this else stuff here. So let's see, I got that. And let's see what else I need to do. Your table should look like that. So it does look like that. So now we go to 8. It says when the update, oh, I forgot to change the button. The button is now not purchase, but update. There we go. Okay, going back and looking over here. Now it says update. When the update button is pressed, use the form data to generate the products array. And do not read the products file. So we need to switch between reading from the products file and the non-products file. And then print product information updated in red. Okay, so we're going to kind of modify this a little bit here. Now we're reading all this stuff up here, so I'm actually kind of inclined to take this out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. I'm going to take this here. I'm going to copy this here. Actually, let's see. We've already read this here, so we actually have to move this code. So what we want to do is, if the update button is pressed, I want it to go to here, and I want to use the stuff in the post array. Okay, so that's all fine and dandy. I'm going to change this to this. I do want everything to be in the form. I don't think I want any of this junk here anymore, so I'm going to take this out. So if array key exists, I want to display my products. Yeah, that's fine. And then I need to close my if statement there. So let's see if that still works. Good. So if it doesn't exist, then I want to take all this stuff here, and I want to read. Oh, I want products data file. I want to leave that alone. I want to read. So if I haven't already started the editing, then what I need to do is, that's right here. So, no editing done. So I haven't done any editing, so I need to read in all my stuff, right? And then he'll reformat this. So I need to read in all my stuff here, right? And then display. So let's see if that still works. Good, that still works. So I moved that code, it didn't hurt it. And then print out that. And then I want to go do all this other stuff, right? But the other thing I want to do is else, right? So this is editing done, update, and display. Update data, update product info. Okay, so what I need to do here is, and again, let's make sure we're still okay. Just tried that out. Good. Oh, that editing done. That's supposed to be a comment. I don't understand. Oh, I'm not in PHP. So let's open up PHP again here, and then close PHP. There. Ooh, line 53 error. I put it in the wrong place. Yeah, this opening and closing of PHP sometimes gets to be kind of annoying. Let's just change this. Instead of doing that, let's just make this a print. Okay, so we're going to do a print, and I'll make this a quote, single quote here. Just print all that stuff here. There. Then I don't have to worry about opening and closing PHP. So this guy, that's with that if statement, and this else goes there. Save that. And I'm still getting an error. Why am I getting an error? Line 65. I open, I close, I open, I close. I do a form, I open, then I close. Too much nonsense, right? The error must be up here. Starting over here. Let's put that there. Put the P back in there. I have line 65. Okay, so this guy closes like this. If it's that, while I'm there, that's okay. Else, done. Well, and I close PHP. Okay, so this is the problem, and this is not connected to anything. Yeah. Okay, I don't need that. That's the problem. There we go. Okay, found it. So I'm back to where I am now. If I'm over here, I'm in business, right? So if I hit update, then I want to be over here, and I don't want to read the data file. And what happens is, if you take a look at what I have, if I hit update here like that, you see I have this products info in $_post. It's exactly the edited version of my file. So that's kind of neat, of my array. So what I'm going to do is set selected products equal to $_post quote prods info right here. That's because I was very careful about how I chose the names. So now let's refresh, and you'll see, look, there it all is. And we're getting this double thing here, and you'll see why. But let's go back to the beginning and watch what happens if I now put some stuff in here, like XXCCC and XXXXVVV there, and I hit update. And notice that there they are. So all my edits actually show up, because instead of reading from the file, I'm taking it from my form. That's right here. The only problem is I have this extra new product thing. So what I need to do is see if there's blanks here, I want to take it out. If they're not blank, I want to leave them in. So I'm going to then check that here. So after I do this, I'll say if new product info was added, I'll say if no new product info was added, remove blank prod info array. So in other words, when I submit, I get this at the end I get this blank info array, because that's how I made it. That's how I made this. I just added a blank info array to the array products array. and so I need to remove it from here if it's empty. If it's not empty, I want to keep it and then add another one. So I'll just check. I'll say, so if selected products, well, so let's just say, we could say, last index equals count of selected products, right, minus 1. Remember, it's always the last one. Selected products minus 1. So it's always, because it starts at 0, so I'm subtracting 1 there. So if $selected products last index, in that last index I'm going to ask if its brand and its price are both empty, that I didn't enter anything. So if price is that, so I'm going to say if empty, right? So if you're empty, and I'm going to take the same thing here. If you're empty and you're empty for that's price and brand. Maybe I'll make this one price too. Price, and I'll make this brand, just to put it in order. Okay, so in other words, if the user didn't enter anything in here, then I don't want to add it to my updated data, right? I don't want to do that. So if that's the case, what do I want to do? I'm going to remove the last one. So how do I remove it? I'm going to use array splice. I'm using array splice because it's going to renumber the elements too, which is a good thing to do. So from select process, it's going to be the last index, and I want to remove one thing, so it's going to be the last one. So let's see if this works. So I refresh here, and notice that I'm getting nothing there. And why am I getting nothing there? Is because this is a new one, and it's skipping the second one that was added from the previous one. So let's go back to the beginning, and now let's actually add something and see if it actually puts it in. So if I'll put here sort of XXX, YYY, and I can make this, I'll just make this one of these other ones like Samsung, because I know the picture exists there, and I hit update, and I go down to the bottom, and look Samsung XXX YYY. So it added it because because this was false, so it didn't slice it out. If these were empty, it slices out the last one. Okay, good. So editing done. Now this gives me selected products, now has all the good stuff that I want. Now remember, now going back to, I know what's coming next. What's coming next is I've got this thing that says that I'm going to take my new product array and I'm going to write it. And also it's supposed to say product info updated. So I'm going to make product info updated. Let's start with that. And so that's going to be the same thing as this print, right? And I'm going to do that. I'll just do that here. And this one is supposed to be in red, right? And product information updated, right? So let's see if that works. And look, oh, Ordic, it's got to be product info updated. Good. And before I do that, I want to go now write the file. So I'm going to write updated product file. So now I want to update my product file so that when I run this thing from the beginning again, my new stuff is there. Right now this is still only in memory. So I want to pass this in. I want to write it out, and that's easy to do because I already have code to do that. Remember how I said to save this? So all this code here, we're just going to cut it, right? And we're going to paste it right over here, because this right to the data file is exactly what we want to do. We're going to overwrite the old data with the stuff that's in the form. The stuff that's in the form is all the new data. Okay, so FPF open write, selected products, yep. I want to implode, and I want to go only to the one before and the last one. So this very same code that I used is now going to be reused here to write the data, and let's see if that works. So I've updated now, I've refreshed. Samsung XXXYYY should now be at the end of my data file, and there it is. Beautiful. Perfect. Now what I want to do is go test this out. If I go start from the beginning and I take the P out and I put the P back in, you notice that look what's there, my new item. And so let's just change some stuff. We'll make it XXX YYY. We'll make this 666, and we already know we can add a new one, so let's just do an update without a new one. And notice there it is, XXX YYY 666. Let's go check my data file here. If you notice that there it is, XXX YYY 666, it all worked. So I believe that's it. There you have it. Took a little while. This was 1 hour and 5 minutes. And so that's how much time we'll give you for this WOD. I know it's a little longer, but I hope it was beneficial. And again, this is only one of many different ways to do this. So I hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget to take your var dump out. We don't need to see that anymore. And there's the beginning of the editor. See